your memo and release yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for an American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the stabbing?
Yeah, sure. If
Pam, could I just interrupt for
Sure.
1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
The Department of Justice and the FBI officially concluding there is no Jeffrey Epstein client list. Also, no evidence that the disgraced financier was killed while awaiting trial. But that largely known conclusion goes against what Trump officials have been promising: big revelations in the case for months.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
So what exactly was on the Attorney General's desk? Well, this is how White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt explained it today.
She was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that.
Well, after months of hype, not everyone in the MAGAverse believes the administration's about-face. I want to bring in senior political reporter for Axios, Alex Eisenstadt, and senior reporter for The Verge, Tina Nguyen. Both cover the Trump administration. Thank you both for being here. Alex, I'm going to start with you because we just heard what Attorney General Pam Bondi said. We've also heard what FBI Director Kash Patel, Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino alleged before becoming the top two officials at the FBI. They were some of the loudest voices on this issue. How would you characterize or put into perspective what we're currently seeing in that space after this DOJ release?
Well, what you sort of see with the Trump administration and the DOJ and the FBI is sort of the MAGA-fication, influencer-fication of these two enormous law enforcement agencies, which is Kash Patel, Dan Bongino. Before they came to the FBI, they were MAGA influencers, they were MAGA activists. And they went out there and they spread some of the loudest conspiracy theories about Jeffrey Epstein. Now they go into government and they realize that they have to be a little bit more measured in how they talk about these things. And they've come out now and they've thrown cold water on the idea of these Epstein-related conspiracies, contradicting what they said in the past. And so it's sort of it's a problem of their own making to a large extent.
And Tina, for some of those MAGA supporters and influencers that are on the outside at this point, that they are outraged over the memo. Laura Loomer calling for AG Bondi's firing, and take a listen to conspiracy Alex Jones.
I'm physically gonna puke probably right now. My mouth is watering right now. It's because I have integrity, and I just really need the Trump administration to succeed and to save this country, and they're doing so much good. And then for them to do something like this tears my guts out.
I mean, literally on the point of tears there. CNN's Aaron Blake says the Trump administration has itself to blame for the backlash among its supporters. Tina, why do you think they hyped all of this in the first place?
Epstein as a concept of the elites having devious control over society and doing evil things, and oh look, here's a couple of political people we don't like Bill Clinton on this plane. It was fodder, it was fuel for the MAGA influencer ecosystem. So if you have this conspiracy theory bubbling for years, 5, 6 years at this point, and then all of a sudden the person that you have pushed back into office, who is supposed to have all of this executive power that he didn't have in the first administration, you're hoping that he finally reveals the truth to you. All of a sudden, not only does he not reveal the truth, but all of the people who promised that they would help Trump reveal the truth suddenly dial back. Like, this is a huge blow to the MAGA brand, as it were. Like, I remember back in 2020, I once got a hat from Project Veritas that literally said, Epstein cover-up on it, because they were promoting a documentary about some news network trying to cover up the Epstein files. That's how far back this goes. Now it's gone, and now you've got people wondering, what was this all about? What are we doing here? Why did we put you in office in the first place?
And Alex, we saw in the opening days or weeks of the Trump administration, they invited a bunch of influencers in, gave them those binders to hold up the so-called Epstein files. Then they said, oh, that's just the beginning. We've got more. And even this conclusion, it's not really a surprise that we got from the DOJ here. This is really what we already knew.
Right. Those in law enforcement had known for a long time that there wasn't much there. And so what you have is basically people who went into the Trump administration before they were in the Trump administration kind of overpromised and underdelivered in the eyes of people like Alex Jones. And to a large extent, in the eyes of people like Jones, the Epstein scandal really exemplified the notion that the elites are hiding something from the American people. And this was a major disappointment for them.